Well, up here is where the buildings were, where the rakes are.
Okay, that's where the
Old barn was, and and the machine shed.
Okay, that's
You want to walk up there or
yeah.
not? Oh,
That's
okay.
fine. And they burnt down in 1933, you said?
No, 34.
34.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah.
Do you remember when?
I sometimes think that maybe somebody was. That's what we all thought. We were not sure, but somebody was to steal gas or something. And boy, that was a hot fire.
Do you
That was a big barn. Had 2 lanes on it. And it wasn't a very old barn either, because my dad bought this land and then he built new right away the next year.
So the barn and the machine shop are here, and then the old house is where your house is right now.
Yeah, and then a little bit south of there was the car shed. Not against the house, it was separate.
Separate? Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
separate. That never, years ago, they'd never build a garage against the house. Oh, God, no, that had never happened.
I was wondering, because in Fargo you see all the houses
Well,
without
yeah.
the garages. And the older ones anyways.
Yeah.
And in Washington that's not like that. So
Yeah.
I was always wondering why that was.
Yeah.
Why they were separate.
That was always because of fire.
Really?
Right.
Really?
Oh, God,
They were worried about a fire?
Yeah, you would never do that. Oh, the older people would have never done that.
Huh.
When you'd say, well, that's kind of a nice deal, that car shed against there. It keeps it warm and everything. Oh, no. They say, I wouldn't live there. Not with that.
Huh. Do you remember when your dad got his first tractor?
Pardon?
Do you remember when your dad got his first tractor?
Oh, God, yeah, I was little. It was a big case. Bottom outfit. It must have been in the late 30s.
Yeah? Did you like driving the tractor?
Well, I never drove that.
Never drove it?
Never drove it. The only time I drove it was years later when in the 40s, when they had what, the poor relief, they said, used to have. And then streeter bunch, WPA workers, they called them. They come over here, and we had, in our township, we had roads to gravel.
Okay.
And then they got gravel up here. And then my dad started it, and it was late. It was getting cold already. And then he'd plowed open for them, so they'd have loose gravel.
Okay.
And then my dad sold that tractor to a guy west of Streeter. And then later on, I bought a tractor. But I never run that.
Really?
No.
That was always your dad?
Yeah, because it was all steel, It was hard to turn it.
Okay.
And I wasn't that strong yet.
What other type of farm equipment did your dad have?
You mean for a tractor?
Just
Yeah.
anything, even before
Oh, yeah.
the tractor?
Yeah, we had everything that we needed. I mean,
Okay.
plows and diggers and discs and drill and everything what we needed, yeah. And it was good to buy because it was right in town. We had implement dealers.
Oh, so you could just go right into Gacko?
Yeah, we'd go in or more for cutting hay. You'd drive in there. I'd ride in with 2 horses and hook it up in there and drive it home. In 36, my dad paid $31 for a mower for 2 horses.
Oh my goodness.
But it was so dry, I could cut 25 acres and there was maybe 3 loads of hay in there.
Really?
That's how bad it was, yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, that's true. That it was.
So what was it like growing up during the dirty 30s?
Oh, that was bad. Like, say, our pastures. Well, the fields you'd plow in the fall, a lot of them, so you wouldn't have so much in the spring, Well, we'd plow, say, this field here don't work too good when it's wet. It don't scour, don't plow good. So we plow these fields that are hard to plow in the spring. So in the spring, well, we'd start seeding, and all at once it was so dry, and then the dust storms come. Dust storm, every field blew. And we had this pasture up here going up where the trash machine sits.
Uh-huh.
We had to move that fence 3 times that summer so the cattle couldn't get out.
Really?
the dirt from the field blew against the fence and the thistles in with it. So that all at once the first two wires on the bottom were all closed in the mud or in the dirt and the stuff. And we had to take the posts out and get that out, get the wires up again, and then reset them. We had to do that 3 times in the summer.
In one summer.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, that's right.
So when did you guys move the barn in here?
That we bought from a guy, and we moved it here. That was about 7 years ago.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. And what about this right here with
This one here, that's an older barn.
That's an older barn?
Yeah, we just re-tinned it. I just
really?
put tin over the top. We were trying to get away from painting. And this one here should be done. It's the same thing. Because we painted it twice now.
Really?
But it's so ungodly high.
Yeah, it is.
But it takes up, you can put a lot of hay in. You can put a lot of animals in if it gets tough.
So when you were growing up, did you keep the horses out here too?
Oh yeah, we had horses in here in the winter and feeding them back. And when it gets too tough, we put them in the barn.
Okay.
Save them, yeah. Yeah.
When you were growing up, did you guys have a radio?
Years ago.
Yes.
Yeah, we had a radio.
Yeah. Did you listen to it quite often?
Oh yes, we listened to it. Old Amos and Andy show and Little Orphan Annie and all that.
Really?
Yeah, we had all that. A Bohemian band out of Yankton, South Dakota. And we had it, aerial, we had a windmill here where that post is so crooked.
Right here?
Yeah, that's kind of swamped there. It always moves there.
Okay.
There was a windmill. Well, the wind tore it down when it was a terrible storm and it tore it down. So I bought a pump jack. I said, I'm not going up on that thing no more and grease it. Then we had a long wire, an aerial wire, what you call the aerial wire.
Okay.
And I had it tied to the windmill and up to the house. Then we got the stations better.
So
That used to be something big, boy. We wanted to be done in the wintertime. Little Orphan Annie was on, and the Bohemian band, and Amos and Andy. We had it be done then.
So what is this wagon here that you have here?
That's going to be my parade wagon.
That's your parade wagon?
Yeah, where I'm going to hook up the team.
Oh my goodness, that is gorgeous. So did you paint it?
No, I had it painted.
You had it painted?
Yeah, the box we painted, but not the steel.
Okay. How old is this wagon?
Oh, this wagon is old. That's the first one that come out on rubber trailer. It's got to be about a 41 model.
Really?
Yeah.
So have you had it since then, or is it?
No, I bought it from the guy then.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And this seat is a 1934.
Really?
My dad bought that.
My goodness.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I know I could get $300 for this. I wouldn't even want to say it.
Yeah.
Somebody'd be here. Yeah.
So is Ruth going to ride with you in the wagon when you?
No, my grandson and the little great-grandson.
Oh, he's probably going to enjoy that.
Oh yeah, he loves that.
Oh.
Yeah.
So do you how do you take it over to street, or do you?
I got a short pole for it, just to bolt this and then put a short pole, and then I hang it behind that truck.
Oh, okay.
And that one is going over too, but we got to varnish that yet.
Okay.
We're going over with 2 teams, Curtis with 1 team and I with 1 team.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. But we didn't get that done. It should, we should have more sunshine. We want to put varnish on that, not paint. See?
To bring out the wood color.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
You said you had your dad's old harness?
Oh yeah, that's down here in the barn. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, that was that was a big deal around here, the horses. Oh, yeah.
So was your dad one of the only horse farmers around?
No, there was more, but we stayed in it longer than the rest did.
Okay.
Yeah, I bought that thrash machine in 55 that
That
you
one
could.
way up there?
Yeah. And then I thrashed for other people, and then we still used all the horses. Some guys didn't have any, but we had more than we needed, and we put the horses on, and they'd bring it in with bundle wagons.
So you talked about breaking horses in. How do you break a horse?
Well, it's just, you mean to ride?
Yeah.
Oh, you gotta keep doing it all the time.
Okay.
You know, you gotta train them so they lead good, and so they back and listen to you good, and you put the saddle on so slowly, unless you want to ride bareback, but saddle is what you should use. And then put them in a small, like in a corral here.
Okay.
Have a small area, and then ride them around, you know, and make them turn this way and that. Give them a little speed. Next day, gallop him or something, you know.
Okay.
So he gets over that acting like he wants to buck.
So it's a very slow process.
Yeah, but you can really train them good. The broncs, that one I had, well, they were all like that. They were easy to break. It was to get them tame. That was the hard part. You know, they were scared of everything. They were scared of this or that. But you got them that they knew your place. Oh, they were tough. They were tough.
So
Yeah.
how many horses back then would you break in? I mean, in an average year.
Oh, we used to break a lot of them for people to drive, too. I did that a lot.
Okay.
You know, but nobody does that no more. So I used to break a lot of them, you know, to learn them to drive on the wagons.
Okay.
When I used to break them to ride too, but then I got a little old for that. They shake me up too much.
So is it easier to break a horse to drive than it is to ride, or?
Well, that's good too. I liked it either way. The only thing is, when you hook them together, you can't hook two bad ones. You got to have a good horse that knows everything and hook a poor one with it.
Oh, okay.
That's how you learn.
Because then they mimic what the other one's
Yeah,
doing as well.
See, if you got two dummies, then it don't work. It don't work. Here's the harness I was telling you.
And this, when did your dad get this harness?
1941.
Oh my goodness.
I don't want to say for sure, but I think it was $109 we paid for that. Oh, I could get $800-900 for that harness now,
Oh yeah.
but I won't sell it.
I wouldn't need it. That's a
I
treasure.
won't sell it, no. We just got done polishing. I oiled it twice, washed it and cleaned it, and my collars here, I got them clean. But the weather isn't right. The humidity, it takes so long for everything to dry. That's the team I'm going to use here.
Are these some good horses? Did you break these horses yourself?
No, I bought them, but they were broke. Yeah.
They were broke.
Yeah. I sold, I had a big team of bays. They were geldings. These are mares. I sold them to Missouri to a guy. So I had to go and buy some again. I bought these out of Bismarck.
How old are they?
They're about 12 years old.
Do they have names?
Oh, yeah. Molly and Dolly.
Molly and Dolly, huh?
Yeah. But they stand here most of the time.
Will they come up
Because
to
of
me
the
if I go up
flies.
there?
Well, they maybe won't just walk up, but they don't do nothing. You can go close. Come here, girls. Come.
What type of horse are they?
Belgium.
Okay, they're big.
Yeah, they're big. You can't find these kind no more. Nobody keeps them kind of horses.
My mom has about 7 or 8 horses back
Saddle
home.
horses.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they're
Yeah.
tiny. They look tiny compared to those.
We got 2 of them there. They're
Yeah, they look
home.
more like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, these were on wagon trains already. And last week I drove to town with them. I was going to see how they act when the cars pass them on the highway, you know. That's what I was worried about. And but they didn't do nothing.
They It didn't scare them at all? Or?
No, they didn't. They didn't. I thought I'd have trouble, when they pass, especially out of town when they drive so fast.
Yeah.
But they never did nothing. So I drove into town. I drove through town, hoping they don't dump. Yeah, they gave me a dirty look if I come to town.
And there's a nice big pile.
Yeah. They were good. They waited till we were out on the road. I wanted to see how they were going to act in all of these big tandem trucks. Is what I was worried about. Where they come from, there was no trucks and stuff like that, or close to the road.
So,
Just they had them on the trail drives.
So how much
wagon train.
do horses like this weigh?
Pardon?
How much do horses like this
About
weigh?
1,700.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Yeah.
And how much does like a saddle horse weigh?
Oh, they vary from 1,000 to 1,200.
Okay, so they
Yeah.
are considerably smaller.
Yeah. It just depends on what you're really using them for. Like, we need a couple of good ones when we go down where we rent pasture southeast of Gackle, about 7 miles. There's over 300 acres in there. You have to have pretty good saddled horses to get all them horses together.
So when you would farm and use horse for the power, would you use this type of a horse?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, this is...
Them would be number ones.
Okay. So did your dad have these type of
Oh,
horses?
yeah, we had Belgium and Percheron and Shires.
Was that common for farmers back
Oh,
then?
yeah, a lot of them, yes.
And then what did you use the saddle horses for, just for rounding up? And...
Yeah, for the cattle, when we had a bunch of cows, then we'd always, years ago we had to herd the cattle, We herd them outside. We fenced everything in, but before that fencing we'd always herd the cattle in the fall, out grazing. Herd them so they couldn't go, no place. Like out here, say, all this land way down to the road there and that. And we'd have a saddle horse, and then you'd watch them, hey, if they go on the other guy's field or something, you'd get them off of there and get them back here. That used to be a lot of deal, because years when it wasn't so wet, the pastures would be dried off or ate off, and then we'd always put them out here and herd them till it got cold.
So your two horses over here, do they have names?
Prince and Dave. The white one is Dave and the other one is Prince.
Okay.
Yeah.
So do you still ride them?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah?
Oh, yeah.
Does Ruth still ride?
Pardon?
Does Ruth still ride?
No, not too much.
Not too much?
No, not no more.
Does anybody ever ride a horse like this?
Oh,
or?
yes. Yeah, we used to ride them. I mean, you'd ride them home from the fields.
Really?
Yeah, we rode
so
them.
you can get on a horse like that?
Yeah. Well, not no more.
Not no more? Can you ride these two? I mean,
the one I don't think this one here, but the other one you can ride. But she's a little bigger. I said, my God, I couldn't get on the small one.
You need a ladder to climb on.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
But they're here now. The last few days is when the nose flies come so bad. That's why they stand here and here and have their nose on the...
Because they're trying to hide their nose from all the flies.
Flies, yeah.
Well, if we look at your house, that's where you built this house after...
we built this in 55.
In 55?
In 54, in December the 16th, in 54, that's when the house burned.
Okay.
Then we lived in by my folks a month. And then I bought a little house and I parked it right there where your car is.
Okay.
It was only a 2-room deal and an attic. Well, it was another room to sleep if you want.
Just a very small, simple place to live.
Yeah. So we was in that summer of 55 till we had that one built and done. Then we moved in that one, and I moved this away, tore it down and everything.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, and then years later you had lightning hit this?
Yeah, right. You know, we should have showed you a paper. Well, we still can.
Yeah, we can look at it.
Yeah, that's when we built this then. And then the lightning hit it.
What year did the lightning hit it?
It was in 87, I believe. 86 or 87, one of the two. We had it shingled one year, and the next year the lightning hit it. Yeah, it must have been in 86 and 87. 86 when we shingled it, and 87. It was a year apart anyway. And then them shingles were just like dead. They was just like rags. They wouldn't protect no more. You'd had to glue them down in order to keep them. They were just, everything was taken out.
Oh my goodness.
So we took them all off that were bad and redone it. Yeah. Did Ruth show you the house, the other house? Picture of it? Oh, I thought she maybe did, yeah. It was sitting right there where that one is. And the car shed was right there where that gate is, but even with the house further towards the east.
Oh, okay, so it was
Yeah.
the same. Okay.
That burned alongside there too.
So when it was hit by lightning, what time of day was that?
2:30 at night in the morning. 2:30
What were you doing?
Sleeping. Trying to. It had bad weather all night, and that's when it happened.
What was
And
that?
Curtis and his wife lived over here in the trailer house.
Okay.
When we quit milking, then his father-in-law was still milking, and 3 years later he quit milking. And then Curtis's father-in-law said he'd sell the cows and all the equipment to Curtis. And he bought it. And then he milked, and we bought that trailer. He bought the trailer house. And then he got a different job. And I said, well, that's not going to work. It won't work. You can't be out here milking, and you got to be at the other place. I said, at all times. I said, even in the evening when you milk, you know well enough you're still got to work there. At the gas station, he was the bulk man, and they called you anytime, if they needed gas.
It was just an on-call job. You just
Yeah,
call in when
right.
needed.
So then he got in on that buyout, what they call the buyout, with the cattle, and with the milk cows. Well, then he made a real good deal there. He got a lot more money than he ever give, and had milk 3 years. Then the trailer house was getting a little too small, so they moved to town.
Okay.
That's why it's here. And then he was hauling the bulk truck in town for a co-op. And then these guys, when this state hospital deal was on, and they got in with the other guys now that they have, the gangsters, they call them. They call them that, gangsters, anyway. Well, now they have to drive to Jamestown and back all the time. He drives out Jamestown. He goes to work at 6:30 or something like that. Yeah, at 6:30, I think. And then they move. He lives in town now. They live in town, and now this is setting out. Well, now we made a kind of a shop out of this.
Oh.
The shop. Whenever you got to fix something, we may fix it up so we can work in there.
Oh, okay.
We got electricity in there and everything, so that's what we did with that.
So when your house got hit by lightning, it got hit on this side of the house?
Yeah, on this side of the house. Yeah. And the phone is on the other side of the house. Only it leads out of the yard, and then it goes north, and then over this way towards them trees that are out there. And when the lightning hit it, and 3 days later, we knew just where the break was, because the lightning followed the wire till he got to the place where they had to splice it.
Really?
There it busted open. Then we knew just where the
You
break
needed to
was.
replace it. Oh my
Yeah.
goodness.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
what was it like having your house hit by lightning? I mean,
Oh.
what did that sound like and what did it feel like?
Well, Ruth, she fell against the shower downstairs. We didn't even know that what happened.
Oh my goodness.
I was upstairs. It cracked so loud. I went upstairs to look out of that big window. And when I did that, it hit the house. And I was blind for a while till I found my way down the basement again. And Ruth, she was the one that fell against the shower.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Mom, you got to get them a picture of that where the lightning hit the house.
I got it.
You got it? Not here, though. No.
What's that bell? Is it that bell on your fence? Does that have any?
Yeah, that was my dinner bell. It was run into the
The
old
other house.
with a wire. And I'd ring it when they were supposed to come to eat.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, that's old. That's old.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I did have
Picture of that.
we had a little wire that went up to the window of the other house, and she'd walk out by the porch and pull that wire and then ring the bell. Then we knew it was dinner.
Oh my goodness.
Used to be handy.
So you mentioned before that when you got this house built, that was the first time you got electricity too that year that the house was done and you moved in?
Yeah, no, we had electricity started before, but then they didn't finish it.
Yeah,
like
so it wasn't
that.
up and running.
Yeah, it wasn't up and going at that time when we built it. They had the posts when it come in, but that winter it got so bad, then the poles were just standing there, no wire on them or nothing. Yeah.
So how did electricity change your life?
Oh, a lot better. A lot better. Yeah. They started it in 51 till they got done. Well, it took them all of 6-7 years, didn't it? Yeah, I know when it had started, and that was that year when we had that awful bad winter, 50 and 51. There was a lot of places they had never been. That was supposed to be all done.
Oh, okay.
But they couldn't do nothing in the winter.
Can't really work much with the snow.
No, that they never could do that. There was no snow plows then. My dad was on the supervisor board for our township. And then they come in the spring and they had a big cat and they just opened the roads for you. Not push it off, just so you could drive. And the rest had to melt away. There was no snow plows or nothing like that.
You mentioned too that same year is when you got your first TV.
Yeah, we got our first TV when we got the house
What,
built. My folks got it up for us for Christmas.
what were some of the programs that you watched when you first got your TV?
Oh, God. There was a lot of them we watched. I wouldn't know all the names of them, but, oh, that was the glory. Man, that was nice.
Well, then there were kids. They had favorites.
Yeah, yeah,
But it was nice having that.
yeah. Oh, that was nice.
Huh.
Yeah,
Cool.
yeah, that's right.
Well, is there anything else you want to show us while we're out?
Well, I was going to show them that where the lightning hit the house.
Okay, let's go over there. We'll do that.
We could go right out here.
Oh, that's easy enough.
Yeah.
You've got some beautiful horses there. They're really pretty, Molly and Dolly.
They'll get some goodies.
They know who gives them the treats?
Well, now, Mother, you get that out, huh? Or what do you want to do?
I have it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's something you got to see.
Yeah.
I hide things. And
Huh?
I know where
Okay.
So is this a well here?
Yeah, yeah. That's
Is this
what-
one of the ones that you dug or?
No, That's the one. No, this one is. That the one is house is the one we dug.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
When did you get that thrasher that's out there?
That what?
The thresher that's out there. When did you get that?
Oh, that's quite old. I had a different one and I traded, but I've got this 6, 7 years. Not, Ruth?
Thrashing machine.
That tractor.
Oh, no.
No, it's the thrashing machine.
Oh, the thrash machine. Oh, I bought that in 55 from my uncle.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So it's been around a long time too.
Yes.
When did you get the tractor?
Pardon?
When did you get the tractor?
Oh, that's a what model? Quick. 52.
No,
52
that one.
model.
52?
That's a 54.
Okay.
And then they got the case. That's Kurt's tractor there, that case.
That bell is really neat. That is really neat.
Yeah.
Kids used to love to go there and climb up and then they'd ring the thing.
Oh, I bet the grandkids love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
That darn lawn's got to be cut again.
When did you cut it last?
Yeah.
Did you
Oh,
just cut
darn,
it?
when do we cut this last, Ruth?
Saturday, I did.
Saturday.
So the house was hitting this corner over here?
Yeah, it was sitting right about in here.
Oh, the hit.
The what?
When the lightning hit.
Oh, up on
In
top.
that corner over there?
Yeah, that hit there. And it had made to go get the paper. And it in the living room, it come in and it had about a 4x4 hole knocked in. And in the other side, where the bedroom is, there it had a 4x4 hole in it.
Oh my goodness.
Dust and everything. I walked up from the basement because there was a loud crack. And I thought it hit the barn or something. But it must have hit. It hit here instead.
Can you... We should scan this in. This article in. Lucky
That
to be
big a
alive.
hole was in the bedroom too.
Oh my goodness. That's just amazing that no one was hurt. Like, seriously hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And one last thing before we turn the video camera off, as I'm going to look at this garden over here.
Okay.
The beautiful work that Ruth has done. But this is the same place where your mom gardened as well?
Yep.
It was just a little larger at that time?
It was bigger, yes. It was bigger.
What types of things did she grow back then?
Pardon?
What types of vegetables did she grow back then?
Everything that you know now.
The traditional...
We had some sweet corn in there, some kinds of pumpkins, watermelons.
Those nasty old pumpkins.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That I never liked.
What are you growing here now, Ruth?
Well, there's cucumbers in the back and radishes and beets and carrots.
Onions.
Onions, of course.
That's the best stuff.
Yeah. And then front here, there's tomato plants and pepper plants. And of course, flowers.